Four teams all looking to win the chip.
It's playoff time.
It's time for Big Three basketball.
It's go time.
My goodness!
That was sweet.
Win or go home.
This building is lit. Oh, man.
Rejected.
We want that title.
This is what we've been.
Welcome to the Big Three playoffs presented by Microsoft. We're in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and then there were four. The winners, well, they head to London to play for the Big Three Championship. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Custer alongside my partner, Jim Jackson. Listen, this should be fun because we have Trilogy going for a three-peat, taking on the enemies their first time in the playoffs.
Well, Trilogy, the hottest team in the Big Three. Look, started off 1-3. Their first three games have won 5 in a row. They have the championship DNA. Can they get 3 in a row? Enemies first time. Really going deep in the playoffs. They wanted championship aspirations. Should be a great one.
Hey, Trilogy, they've won 5 straight, the longest playoff run in the Big Three this season, and no one's been hotter than the Hezzy god, Ryan Carter. Since week 3, no one has scored more points than this young man.
And you follow the point that he's been hot, hence Trilogy's been hot. He's doing what he does best, which is put the ball in the basket.
He's been hotter than fish grease, and right now he's on the court with Brian Scalabrine.
Ever since you got to the Big Three, not only have you dominated, but you find a way to win. How you going to find a way to win today?
Just play harder than the opponent. Me and my guys always stick together no matter what the situation is, up or down. So we just going to stick together and play as hard as we can and ultimately come out with the win, hopefully. So,
all right, good luck today. A lot of fans out there supporting you on.
He's got 3 straight game winners, and this man here has been hot as well, Jordan Crawford. He's the 3rd leading scorer in the Big Three, put up 27 last week.
Yeah, but also shooting about 58% from behind the three-point line, so that makes him 3rd in the league. So he's beating you from a lot of different areas. A great matchup between Crawford, but also Ryan Carter.
Well, here's a look at the rosters. They're presented by PNC Bank. Listen, Trilogy has never lost in the playoffs. The enemies, their first time in the postseason in the Big Three. Nick Young, Swaggy P, is their captain and coach as well. In fact, since he's taken over that role, 4-1, the enemies. If you're not familiar with the Big Three, let's take a look at the rules. Listen, the first team to 50 wins. You got to win by 2. There is no game clock, but there is a 14-second shot clock, no playing around. And that 4-point shot is always a difference maker.
Also, too, strategically, the 4-point shot is not there just for a gimmick. It's a strategic placement on the court. But also, when you bring the fire and who you use it against or for, it's very strategic, matchup-wise. So let's keep our eye, in particular, on when the coaches choose to utilize that.
Well, there is Swaggy P, 4-2, since he's been the acting head coach and player for Gilbert Arenas in this enemy squad. You want to talk about Coach of the Year? How about Steven Jackson? I mean, they're going for a 3-peat. And it hasn't won Coach of the Year yet.
Not yet, but the way they started to where they're at right now, making the right moves. But it's also, I think he talked to Ryan Carter about this. We know you want to fit in, but we need you to score. And since then, Trilogy has been on fire.
Here's Ryan Carter, the Hezzy guy, pulls up, misses that shot, tipped out. And then it will stay with Trilogy. And there's the owner and the Big Three founder, Ice Cube. Inside to Earl Clark. Clark gone 2 straight weeks of 2010 and drops the dime there to Amir Johnson.
One of the best players in the league is Clark, and the reason why he can score, he plays defense, but he also makes a lot of plays. He's a tough matchup one-on-one. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep them contained.
Here's the steal. Clark has it, spinning, dropping another dime. Amir Johnson again. Johnson, the follow-up no good. And it's Isaiah Austin who comes out of the scrum with it. Austin, The side, left hand, banks it home.
Like the matchup that time, Austin. Soft touch. Got to his left hand. Good defense by Johnson, but better roll that time like Isaiah Austin.
Here's Clark.
Too little. Too
Oh,
little.
to left hand and lays it in.
And see, this is what makes Trilogy tough. Clark's ability to go inside and out. Do you help? Do you allow it to go one-on-one when he has a mismatch? That just opens it up for Carter on the perimeter.
It's the big gun right there. Jordan Crawford, third leading scorer. And we're all tied up at 4. I thought it was interesting. We had a great conversation last night. He said, our strategy is, listen, I know I can score, but we got to get Elijah Stewart going here early.
Well, if you can have 2 guards that can score, where are you going to help off of? And that's the challenge that they have, too, because Isaiah Stewart early on was a guy that was putting the ball in the basket, but it came back. Jordan Crawford kind of found his niche. No time like the present to see if that backcourt can get going together.
Elijah Stewart says we want to challenge that call. We think it went off Trilogy.
Brian, Jimmy, who you guys think is going to win this game?
You know, Trilogy is just a dog. They've been a dog all season long and found ways to get it done.
And we go back to this call right here. But Brian, I think of it like this, is that with with Ryan Carter, and then you also have Earl Clark, 2 versatile kind of players that can play off each other. What do you take away? And I know Isaiah also can play defense, but Clark is so tough of a matchup.
But one of the things that Jordan Crawford and the enemy said was the guy that they've got to take away, they said, was Earl Clark. They believe he's like the head of the snake for Trilogy.
Well, in that first game early on, we're going back to this replay to see who taps it out of bounds. I think it goes off Clark's hand at the end. In that first game when Trilogy won, 52-46, Clark had 25 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. Okay, so that just tells you how tough of a matchup problem he is in that time, too, also. White ball. So it did go off. It went off for Earl Clark's right hand wrist area. So official was able to get that call right.
So Elijah Stewart will inbound to Crawford.
Love this matchup here.
Guarded by Carter. Back to Austin. Austin, dribble pull up. Yes! 2-point lead for the enemies.
You know, one of the keys defensively in 3-on-3, I like to call it discernment. Nice move that time. When to help and when not to. A lot of times you overcommit, that's going to leave somebody wide open. You got to trust your teammate that can guard one-on-one without over-helping when they don't really need it.
Elijah Stewart will go to the line. Listen, Stu had 14 last week. He's been right at his season average because he averages 14.
Mm-hmm. But I think if he can get it going early, that just puts a whole different pressure on the defense for Trilogy.
Clark, too strong. Rebound, Stewart. Austin thought about the 3. 5 now on the shot clock. And he's going to pull it anyway. Stewart the rebound. Crawford, you don't leave him open. You know you don't leave that man open.
Second chance. Now, I get this. Amir Johnson did a great job of staying solid and not going for the pump fake. So defensively, Trilogy did what they had to do, but they didn't finish it by getting that defensive rebound. Hence, Crawford made a fake.
Oh, what a block by Austin.
Free shot.
Enemies on a 7-0 run.
Free shot.
Here's Jordan Crawford. Got it again. This man is red hot. Trilogy's going to call a timeout. The enemies are on a 10-0 run. You're watching the Big 3 playoffs presented by Microsoft. And it's the enemies up 8, their first time in the Big Three playoffs.
Presented by Microsoft is the 2023 big
Microsoft Surface Pro Pack 49. Give a round of applause, DC. Take turn up. Everyone, please direct your attention to the video board. It's time for a special presentation. We'd like to take time to recognize the special guests from Tech Turnup. We're here in Washington, D.C. Tech Turnup is an organization built to empower under-resourced youth here in the D.C. area through technology and art education.
Look at me, man!
To reach their full potential. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to honor a local organization empowering the D.C. community to do more and achieve more. On behalf of the Big Three Microsoft, we would like to present you with a brand new Surface Pro tablet for your organization as a thank you for all you do for the DC community. Thank you, Tech Turnup, for coming and enjoy the rest of today's Big Three Fireball playoff games. Once again, big shout out to Microsoft, Big Three sponsor, Tech Turnup. Thank you so much for being in the building. Congratulations to you, Tech Turnup.
The 2023 Big Three Playoffs presented by Microsoft is sponsored by Taco Bell.
Welcome back to DC. Here's the Big Three Playoffs. Hey, Dougie Fresh talking about celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Time for the prize picks entry of the day. Let's take a look at two of the most popular projections for today's game. Of course, Jordan Crawford, third leading scorer in the league. Hezzy God Ryan Carter, he's the Big Three leading scorer. Download the prize pick app. Play along with the official daily fantasy partner of the Big Three. And we take a look at what they've done thus far. How about Jordan Crawford? He's got 8 points already. Hezzy God yet to get on the board, and it's the enemies who've gone on a 10-0 run. Earl Clark with the rock. There's James Flight White, the only original member of the Trilogy since the beginning, as well as Steven Jackson, who's the head coach now for the past few seasons. Here's Crawford on the crossover. Miller driving and banks it home. How about the enemies in this start?
Hey, listen. They do have size. They're able to get some momentum going. Right now, Clark has struggled to find his shot, which has opened the door for the enemies to do things.
Crawford has got 11 of the 17.
Jordan in their first game, now they lost to Trilogy, enemies did, but Jordan had 22 points. Now, he led the league in total points, big three. So, but what they're doing is this, B. Quick shots. The shot goes up by Trilogy, you miss, you sprint out, and you figure out this is the foul, but Jordan Crawford was able to get to the corner and set his feet. Okay.
And how about Steven Jackson? And Swaggy P.
Swaggy called it.
Yeah, he was like, okay.
But you know, it's interesting because you're up, and I think sometimes you may not need to use it when you're up like this. But
It's the Taco Bell bring the fire. Listen, you don't like a foul call, you can bring the fire and force that offensive player, go one-on-one for those 2 points. The defense gets the stop, no points, and they get the basketball.
it's interesting that Nick Young, like I said, chose to use it now. You're up 13 points. You know, if you get to the free throw line, that's all you may need it a little bit later in this half. But
Tough bucket by Earl Clark. Maybe this is something that can fuel Trilogy and get them on a run.
well, it's such a tough matchup. Earl Clark and 20 minutes did a good job of kind of staying in front, but the shot creation that time by Clark. Again, going to his left, away from the basket, able to pull it back to his right, and then use the glass, and maybe it is.
17-6. Crawford again! He's on fire!
There you go. It is.
And he's talking to Steven Jackson.
Well, big stage, big game, big time player, step up big time, and that's what he's doing. And Clark's still kind of struggling with his shot.
They're up 20-6. Clark driving the baseline and banks it home as he reverses it in. 12-point lead. Austin sets the screen for Quincy Miller. Miller, step back, off 1 foot, no good. But there's Austin for the offensive rebound.
Another opportunity for the enemies.
Clark to board. Has he got a drive? Block. Austin dunks it home. 22-8 is the score as the enemies are running away with this one. It's the playoffs here on CBS. So they wave off the timeout. And we'll continue action.
Carter pushes off a little bit, but that long arms of Isaiah Austin able to get it, and he then smartly once again doesn't hit the rim, take it right back, and those are the little things that count. The second shot, the putbacks, defensively getting offensive rebound, all that kind of little stuff is why enemies are up 14 right now. See if Carter can get his game going right now. He's wide open.
And he takes home a three. He looked up like, thank goodness one goes in. 22-11 is the score.
Yeah, one basket at a time. See if you can close this gap before the half. Because what you want to do is go into halftime. We always say it, B. Brian, is trying to go into the halftime with some kind of momentum to feel good about yourself coming out in the second half.
Scal, listen, the enemies are playing really well. I talked to Jordan Crawford last night, and he said, you know, their turnaround for us was when I had to talk to the team a couple of games in and say, look, I'm not here for a check. I really want to win this thing. And he said, I think the guys started to take my lead. What have you seen out of the enemies?
Ever since Crawford, Jordan Crawford was the NBA Player of the Week one time. So ever since he's taken the game over and been a scoring threat, they've been a different team.
What about you, Jim? What have you seen of the difference out of this enemy squad?
One, they play together a lot better as a team. In the past, it was more individual, but I think when you have Isaiah Stewart that can play, Jordan Crawford, Quincy Miller, all versatile kind of players, it allows you to be creative in your offensive set. Don't be When you play with a team in 3-on-3, you can get some good looks, some good opportunities, and we see that happening. And we saw it happen all year for enemies, and now they want to cap it off by getting to the championship game.
Stewart, yeah, he walked. He walked. This is the first playoff appearance for the enemies. You see what they've done since they came into existence in 2019. 5-3, what they ended the regular season on. And all of a sudden, Trilogy has scrapped their way back now. Got it down to 9. Clark, fadeaway turnaround. Nope, look at David Hawkins. A Hawk, wide open to Flight White. Extra pass to Clark. Corner 3. No, Hawkins again. Using that big body.
Gave me that big backside that time to kick Crawford out the lane.
Hawk, up and under. High off the glass, tipped out. Clark into Hawkins again. And he'll go to the line.
And remember Hawk last week hit the big time shot to finish it.
Hey, make sure you get your official Big 3 merch at store.big3.com. League, team apparel, including jerseys, hats, jackets, get it all. Store.big3.com. So here's David Hawkins shooting 1 for 2.
And think about that 2018 Trilogy title team. He led the team in scoring that year. 16, a little under 17 points a game. So he's been there.
How about this? Quietly, Trilogy on a 7-0 run.
Got to cut down to 7.
A 3, we go to the half by the enemies. Here's Crawford.
Good by Hawk.
Austin couldn't control it, but knocked away by James Flight White.
And Hawk that time on Crawford. Crawford obviously has the speed, but Hawk played space. He played the angle. Beautiful out of bounds play that time.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
I'm telling you, when you're down, you're trying to fight back in. You got to talk right there in between James White and Hawk. David Hawkins, they got caught up, didn't communicate, gave up an easy basket.
Clark had it, lost it. Crawford and Austin flips it up, but he'll go to the line. Steven Jackson walks to the line and wants to bring the fire.
Well, but James White motioned to Steven to bring it. Even though he called it, I mean, he fouled it. Obviously, he wanted to give up the layup. But White likes this matchup with Isaiah Austin.
It is the Taco Bell Bring the Fire. When you don't like a foul called, you can challenge it by bringing the fire and make that offensive player go one-on-one to earn those 2 points. And you can see Steven Jackson trying to fire up his squad. Here's Austin working on Flight White. And that one rolls off.
Listen, when you tell the coach you want to bring the fire, you better get the stop.
That's true.
You better get the stop.
You better preach.
Yeah. But I tell you, the offensive player, you got to be quick with your move. If you play with it too long, the advantage skews towards the defense. And that time, White maybe not as athletic as he once was, but he's smart, intelligent, got to stop.
Good by James Flight White. And just like that, Trilogy now down just 5.
And that's, again, they're making this run without Ryan Carter having an effect on the game.
The 3 is off by Crawford. From the corner, yes! Jordan throwing punches like Bud Crawford. And it's the enemies going to the half, up 8 on the defending champions.
And without all else fail, find Jordan Crawford. Now, Earl Clark has some length, but Crawford able to get it up and over.
All right, let's get to the court. Scal is with the Trilogy's head coach, Steven Jackson.
All right, I got to know, first of all, didn't look good early, but your momentum, this isn't bad.
Trying to grind it out. We got out to a terrible start. They hitting shots. Well, we can't give Jordan Crawford their shots. I know he said he was too good for the NBA, which is trash. You're not that good, but he can't shoot. And if you give him a wide open shot, he's going to knock it down. So we got to find some way to pay attention to detail and make them work for their buckets, but they're playing well right now.
You guys are going to want to tune in. Stephen Jackson always makes some type of adjustments at halftime. Good luck second half. All right, guys, send it back to you.
Oh, I love the Big Three. You're watching the Big Three playoffs presented by Microsoft, the defending champs, taking on the enemies, their first time in the postseason. We'll be right back. From the nation's capital, it's the Big Three playoffs. The enemy's first time in the playoffs, taking on the two-time champion, back-to-back champions, Trilogy, and it's the enemy's up. Toyota proudly returns as the official automotive partner of the Big Three. You know, this season, there's even more excitement, and today is the last day to enter that Toyota RAV4 Big Three giveaway for a chance to win a 2023 RAV4 Hybrid XSE. To enter or view the official rules, simply scan that QR code on your screen, or you can visit Toyota RAV4 Big 3 Giveaway.com. Brian Custer alongside Jim Jackson, and man, how about the start that the enemies had to this one?
Well, I mean, we talked about Jordan Crawford getting hot, 17 points in the first half, Isaiah Austin 8, but it's been the defense too, not allowing Ryan Carter to get started. So they forced other players for Trilogy to have to try to beat them. Trilogy made a run. We'll see which momentum how it shifts in the second half.
Let's talk about Jordan Crawford because, man, he had 17 in that first half, and he did it off the bounce. He did it from the corner. If it was threes, tough shots, he knocked them down.
And this is good defense by Earl Clark in the corner. You get a little space, but Crawford at that point was already feeling it. Now, what adjustments do you make in the second half is a question that we see right away. It's Earl Clark about to guard Jordan Crawford, maybe to put some size in front of him.
Let's see if it works. Here's Isaiah Austin. Or Elijah Stewart. His shot's no good. Got his own board. With the attack the hoop.
And it seems the enemies are the more aggressive team. And what I mean by that, they're attacking a lot more, not settling. Okay, Elijah Stewart that time knew the shot was off. No block out. Another offensive rebound. Picks up the foul, got a chance to get 2-point opportunity with this free throw.
And he knocks down that free throw, 1 for 2. So the lead is now 10. Keep in mind in the big three, first team to 50, you win. Got to win by 2. Here's Ryan Carter, the Hezzy guy. Too strong. Rebound. Crawford has it now. Working on Amir Johnson. To Isaiah Austin. Missed everything. Oh, good dive.
I think he hit the side of the rim. Well, let's see. Did it carry him off the right-hand side of the rim?
We'll take another look at it. Let's take a look ourselves.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah, you got to clear it, so they're going to take that away.
Good work by our camera crew. That one did just skim the rim.
Easy call by the officials. I didn't have time to look. I'm going to say this too. It'll be interesting to see if Stack, Coach Steven Jackson, tries to get Ryan Carter involved, some pick and roll, try to get something easy. Because when you're trying to put pressure on yourself to shoot it and score, and the jump shot is not going, you kind of get away from how you can play, which is he has a big body and he can get downhill. So can you now create some momentum by getting to the basket, getting a couple free throws, and then maybe that loosens it up for that Jimmy, for that jump shot to start to go in for you.
Yeah, you can see that one skimming right off there on the right side of that rim.
No baskets, a clearing violation. The ball hit the rim. Ball on the side.
So clearing violation.
After the ball hit the rim,
no basket.
It's going to be a clearing violation. It's going to be enemy ball on the sideline. Force to take it from the shot clock.
And how about Trilogy now looking to double up on Crawford? Elijah Stewart. Stu pulls up, rolls off. Clark with the rebound. Johnson pound. I like it. Good position there. Lays in an easy one. 8-point lead. Trilogy, back-to-back champions. They've never lost in the postseason. Crawford, yes, that's his sweet spot. Lead is 10. Clark. Into Johnson, he's double teamed. Back to Clark, did he walk? Nope. Johnson, nope. Follows his own miss, no again, and a foul.
But you see kind of part of the strategy, not kind of, but part of the strategy I think Steven Jackson is trying to employ is to use their size. So trying to get certain mismatches inside, get the ball inside. Because what happens too when you're shooting layups, you're not shooting long jump shots which lead to quick kickouts, open shots that we saw from the enemies early in the first half.
Free throws are good. Jordan Crawford with 19 of the enemy's 31. Here's There's the drive by Stu and the foul by Johnson.
As you Stewart once again, not afraid to attack a bigger opponent. Smartly fended Johnson off with that off shoulder.
He knocks down the free throw.
In this group with the enemies too, they've been together for a couple of years, and I think that's also the key too, is maintaining some kind of continuity with your players and your roster. And as a result, look how well enemies are playing. They got a chance to close out one of the best teams, the hottest teams in the league in Trilogy.
Absolutely. 5-game winning streak. Has he got rejected by Isaiah Austin?
That's when you think it's safe to get back in the water. Isaiah Austin comes from the weak side.
Here's the Hezzy God again. Gets the screen. Step back. Got it.
But that's off a pick and roll. So now he was able to get in some space, got to his left side. Little fade away out there. And see if that can get him going along with his team. But it's going to be on this end of the court, the defensive side.
Jordan Crawford is a walking bucket. He's got 22. Lead is 11.
Held him. The pick and roll up top. Amir Johnson gets that body. Carter able to get space. Austin not going to really fully commit to that, which is smart, because it's not like Carter has been tortured the net, so why jump out? That would open up a nice little slip pass to Amir Johnson down below. Let's see if Carter can come right back.
Carter, the three again.
Don't take much. When you're a scorer, Brent, you know this. You've been around the game long enough. Once you see it go through and you feel good about yourself, now it's lights out.
Here's Isaiah Austin now, going right at Flight White, who reaches in, count it in one. Every time Trilogy tries to make a run, it seems like the enemies have an answer.
Isn't that what the good teams do? It's one of those things where they don't allow a team to go on a 6-0, 8-0, 10-0 run. It's okay, you get 2 to 4, we're coming right back with 2 to 4. That keeps them ahead.
Free throw, no good. We're gonna take a break. It's the enemies. Up 10. Ryan Carter trying to find it. He's knocked down a couple of threes, but every run, the enemies have had an answer. It's the Big Three playoffs here on CBS. Welcome to Washington, D.C. It's the playoffs, and it's the enemies on top of the defending champions Trilogy. Let's take a look at the Microsoft Player of the Week, Earl Clark. He's gone the past 2 weeks of 20 and 10. That's what he did last week. He's gotten off to a slow start here today. He's going to have to pick it up. In fact, the Trilogy Stars have had a struggle here early on. Earl Clark averaging 17 and 8, but has put up 20 and 12 the past 2 weeks.
Hey, Scal, you've seen these situations where your top two scorers are struggling. From a coaching perspective, how would you try to get those two to be able to get some momentum?
They got to get going. I mean, it's just 3-on-3, so I think you can start it with the defensive end. I hear Steven Jackson. I'm right here next to his huddle. He's been preaching defense the whole entire second half. So I think that's how he's going to try to get his guys going.
How much do you think pressure maybe that Ryan Carter put on himself to come out here and try to perform when this is his first time kind of doing it?
He's been delivering in the second half, I'll tell you that.
He's going to need to as he banks in that three and the foul by Isaiah Austin.
I think Scal is right about this. Is you got to get stops first and foremost. Now see that shoulder is pointed, the hips are pointed towards the basket, kind of unorthodox a little bit, but that's the way Carter shoots the rock. And that time, Austin a little late to the party, leaning in, commits the foul, and now
you got to make those free throws. So important. So important. Lead is 9.
It's important too. Trilogy, listen, can you get yourself to the penalty next few possessions? Why is that important? One, you get to the free throw line, and I say this all the time. You make the free throw, you retain possession. That's the way you can cut into the lead.
Here's Jordan Crawford working on a 30-piece. Austin, the offensive glass. Miller, the big body, and uses the left hand.
That's about 5 offensive rebounds with shot opportunities the enemies have been able to take advantage of. And Trilogy not doing a great job of securing those defensive rebounds is costing them.
Here's Clark. Missed that one. As he got, missed the follow. Crawford. Behind the back, drives the baseline. Miller, open three. Rolls off. Carter, short. Here's Earl Clark. Knocks down the three.
Maybe a better strategy.
That's like today's NBA.
He said my 3 is better than my 2. So
exactly.
It worked out.
Here's Austin now. White.
Is it?
Let's see what the call. No basket. Yeah, I think she called it on Trilogy.
Must have been on the floor. Before he went up for Isaiah Austin went up for the shot.
Elijah Stewart will check back in for Quincy Miller. One more foul for the enemies there in the penalty. Oh, there's Crawford coming off. Knocks down another jumper.
You said it though. You said this before. Trilogy gets a little momentum. Crawford or somebody just figures out a way to kind of cut that.
Step back three. Nope. Short. Stewart. Rebound. The three. Count it. The enemies are 3 points away from heading to the championship game and ending the reign of Trilogy. We'll be back in 30 seconds right after this. enemies, first time in the playoffs. They're up on the defending champions 47-34. Hey, Billions. That hit Showtime Original Series returns for its final season. It is streaming on Paramount Plus with the Showtime plan. Jordan Crawford has 24 points, had 25 last week to lead the enemies. And listen, if you look at the big three and now in this sixth season, Trilogy was going for their fourth championship in those 6 seasons, but the enemy's trying to put an end to that. As Trilogy has gone back-to-back, they wanted to go for the first three-peat, but now it's the enemies who, look, in the postseason for the first time ever. Look, yeah, the winner of this game does head to England for the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff is on the line. A lot of first time that Trilogy loses in the playoffs.
Yep.
First win in the playoffs for enemy. This is a team that was going 5-0, so you give them their first defeat in the last 5 games.
Yeah. The Hawk, his drive, no good. It'll stay with Trilogy.
Can you close it out? Be systematic here. Do you need a 3? Yeah, you can get it. Just a stop you need. Finish this thing off and get ready to roll at London.
James White knocks down the 3, makes it 10 is the deficit. A 3 here, and the enemies will win it. Here's Crawford. Guarded by Hawkins, hounded by Hawkins. Crawford, step back for the win. Got it! That's a bad man!
Well, you reference Bud Crawford, right? His body blows.
That was a knockout.
That's what I'm saying. Body blow, body blow. Then at the last moment, you come up top, spray it over the top. And that's what Jordan Crawford was able to do. And this is good defense. Listen. Hawk got up into him. Crawford felt him. He lost it a little bit. He created that space. And when you're hot, you know how it is, B. You're hot, just let it fly. Money.
Jordan Crawford is a walking bucket, and he's with Scow.
I don't need all that water on my stuff. I don't know what this. I mean, you didn't even hit the rim today.
At all. If it hit rim, don't count it. For sure.
This game, a lot of people are talking about an MVP showdown. You and Earl Clark. You sent a message like week 3. From then on, you've been dominant. What changed? How do you have this mindset?
Oh, I had to force the big 3 to make me the MVP. You know what I'm saying? It's the real enemies. They ain't want us on CBS.
Good luck in London.
Appreciate it.
Got it.
Oh, he's MVP. He's MVP. And his enemy squad are headed to London, England in the championship game. A final score, enemy 50, Trilogy 37. Stay tuned, more Big 3 playoff action with the Ghost Ballers taking on the Triplets. Game 2 from Washington, D.C. right after this.